Welcome to the webinar that discusses how to teach Reach for Reading in a multi-level classroom. I am Denise Detmar, and I will be your presenter for this session. In today's session, I will define and describe a multi-level classroom and also talk about the benefits and challenges of teaching in this type of setting. I will answer some frequently asked questions regarding teaching Reach for Reading in a K-6 classroom, and share some important strategies to consider showing how Reach for Reading is a great support for a multi-level classroom. A multi-level classroom is simply defined as students from varying grade levels learning in the same classroom together. Sometimes teachers have the luxury of having an assistant in the room, and other times, as the budget typically mandates, a teacher is working with students in multiple grade levels alone. This type of setting, multi-level, is also called multi-age, multi-grade, blended, or split classroom, and we will reference each one in our session today. As I work with classroom teachers that have been assigned a split, I hear them asking, how will I ever teach two grades of students in the same room? Throughout the webinar today, I will show you how the instructional design of Reach for Reading not only supports this concept, but actually makes it simpler for you, the teacher. Let's look at some of the benefits of teaching a multi-age classroom. First, students gain valuable life skills by learning to work with others, but they are also given the opportunity and time throughout the day to work independently. In Reach for Reading, cooperative learning activities anchor each lesson so that students support one another as they are learning subject matter and practicing their oral language skills as they interact verbally. Keep in mind, research shows that the skills employers look for most in hiring is the ability to work well in a team setting. Closely related is the second benefit. Students are able to celebrate their learning with other classmates and form relationships with not only their like-ability peers, but also students that may excel or struggle in certain subjects. And finally, in a multi-level classroom, students are given an opportunity for growth. Students may work ahead or spend additional time on a skill that needs reinforcement. Each student's individual needs can be addressed in this type of unconventional setting. As you look at this slide, you may be saying to yourself, that looks like the benefits of a single-level classroom. I agree. Even in a single-level classroom, we are challenged as teachers with meeting the needs of a wide range of students. Differentiation and planning will be our goal as we work through the challenges of teaching a split. Many teachers worry that they don't know where to begin. The good news is, Reach for Reading will be a catalyst in this endeavor. You may be more familiar with the challenges of teaching a multi-age class rather than the benefits. Let's discuss the potential problems together and then look at the strategies with Reach for Reading that will help us overcome them. Teachers may be concerned with finding appropriate material for the varying groups of students in their classroom. The fear of all the preparation and time needed to design appropriate activities for these learners may be overwhelming. Questions like, what planning is needed? How do I set up my classroom? Or how do I organize groups that are manageable may be asked. Finally, making sure each student is working at his or her level consistently may seem like an impossible task. The lesson plans, differentiated activities, and resources found in Reach for Reading will be our solution as we strive to meet the needs of all the learners in your classroom. Now let's take a look at some frequently asked questions. First, which two grade levels work best with Reach for Reading when planning? The instructional design of Reach for Reading is similar in grades 1 and 2 and also in grades 3 through 6. So the easiest split would be 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd and 4th, 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th grade in the same classroom. The instruction in Reach for Reading follows the same path in each of these grade levels mentioned. Obviously, the concepts get more difficult as we move up in grade level. However, it is not impossible to teach a split not listed here. With additional planning, assessment, and differentiation, it is possible to teach a kindergarten first or a second third grade split. Another question I am frequently asked is, what is the best way to plan for a blended classroom? We have already discussed how differentiation is pertinent in a multi-level classroom. To further your study and planning, please consider two different Reach for Reading resources found at our award-winning website, www.myngconnect.com. Here you will find a monograph titled Reaching Your Reading Potential by Deborah Short and Jennifer Turner, both authors of Reach for Reading and renowned for their research and work in literacy. These authors share how differentiation allows all students to have the potential to be effective readers, writers, and thinkers. The article shares how Reach for Reading can break the cycle of basic skills instruction with, quote, decontextualized worksheets and memorization drills, unquote, and instead offer, quote, tools to connect reading instruction to the content areas, unquote, by giving students strategies and skills to excel. It is an excellent read as you prepare for the school year. Also, I suggest the webinar titled Differentiated Instruction with Reach for Reading, also found at MyNG Connect. From the Reach for Reading online homepage, navigate to the Professional Development link. Click the Research Best Practices tab, and the webinar is listed fourth underneath. This webinar discusses the research behind differentiation and also shares how Reach for Reading can be used as a valuable tool in any classroom. So how many different grade level texts should be used in a multi-level classroom? I suggest just one. Let me explain. One of the first things you should do when assigned to a multi-level classroom is to conduct a needs assessment with your students. You may choose to speak with the previous teacher, observe in the current classroom if time allows, view standardized test scores, or meet with students individually before the school year begins. Choosing a core text is important in a multi-level classroom. Some examples. If you're teaching a first-second grade split, and most of your learners need foundational skills in phonics, phonemic awareness, and high-frequency words, you may wish to use the first grade text as the core learning material. You will then use the advanced differentiation supports offered throughout the text for your more proficient learners. However, if you're teaching a third-fourth grade split, and a good portion of your students are currently working above grade level, are fluent in reading and comprehend well, you may choose the fourth grade text as the core learning material and use the differentiation supports offered for struggling readers in your classroom. Reach for Reading offers a leveled library with a wealth of fiction and nonfiction books at every grade level K through 6, so students are always reading a good fit book as they learn skills and strategies during small group reading time. National Geographic exclusive magazines are also part of the guided reading instruction in grades 3 through 6. The Reach for Reading workshop format in a multi-level classroom is beneficial for all students. A workshop format uses a variety of groupings and allows the teacher to meet individual needs of all students, conference with individual students, monitor progress, and build lifelong skills for each learner. A successful way to manage a multi-level classroom is shown here. Begin with the whole group teaching a skill or strategy for reading that will benefit all students. You will see here that Reach for Reading has already done the work for you, identifying what the teacher is doing during this stage and also what the students are doing. Next, you will break your students up into small groups for instruction tailored to each group's needs. While you are meeting with your small groups, other students are working on learning station activities or other tasks you assign during the whole group time. The good news is, activities are already created for you that correlate to each unit's theme in every grade level. What a time saver! I suggest having students return to the whole class grouping to bring the workshop to closure, reflect on learning, offer feedback, and revise learning goals for the next day as necessary. This is usually a brief sharing time from 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the reading block. Let's review the workshop format and also take a look at the resources available for you. We will use Grade 3, Unit 1 as our example, but if you focus on the resources available rather than the content, you will see this is helpful at any grade level. During the whole group time, you will explore prior knowledge, give direct instruction to the entire class, and observe students to plan for small group instruction. The student anthology, building background videos, and interactive whiteboard activities are just a few of the resources used during whole group time. During the strategic small group instruction, you will direct guided reading, assign mini lessons, scaffold where needed, and conduct individual student conferencing. Keep in mind, the variety of texts offered in Reach for Reading support a wide range of reading abilities and serve as instructional resources for reading, writing, and inquiry. Leveled nonfiction and fiction texts are an integral part of each week's instruction and offer texts below, at, and above reading grade level in grades K through 6. By using Reach for Reading provided text sets of different stories, books, magazines, images, and multimedia resources on the same topic or theme that you see here, a broad range of students can participate at their own level. Further reading and inquiry is encouraged, as students are often motivated to read and view texts others have read and discussed. Regarding learning station time, all thematic activities are already created for you. Learning centers are as essential to the multi-level classroom. Reach for Reading offers a variety of hands-on materials and open-ended teamwork activities and supplemental resources to accommodate the wide developmental range of students. Planning resources are available for every week of instruction. A large block of uninterrupted time, 60 to 90 minutes, is suggested for a multi-level class. Now let's discuss the approach you will follow in your classroom. As you begin organizing groups, think of your class in terms of a range of abilities rather than two different grade levels. Remember that teaching one grade level can present as wide of a spread of abilities as teaching a split. Small group instruction is an important part of Reach for Reading. Things to keep in mind. There are a variety of writing projects in Reach for Reading. If your class is unable to complete all comprehensive writing projects, I suggest focusing on at least one writing project per grading period, or focusing on one narrative, one expository, and 1 to 2 argumentative projects for the year. The writing skills are going to be similar for all students in your classroom, as each project follows the 6 steps of the writing process. Besides a writing project for each unit, there is also daily writing, weekly writing, and additional writing in response to reading. Reach for Reading is designed so students have the opportunity to read and write every day. During small group reading time, you will assign a good fit book to each student. You may choose the good fit based on interest one time, but for the next unit, choose a book at the student's reading level. Remember, we are teaching skills and strategies, not specific books. Students will use the literature to apply the skills and strategies you are teaching during whole group time and small group reading time. Phonics and word study can also be differentiated. Reach for Reading has consistent and explicit phonics routines that walk teachers and students through each part of this process. In kindergarten, first and second grade, I would consider teaching phonics in whole group. If phonics is still necessary for third graders or above, I would use small group reading time to focus on these skills with a specific group of students. Reach into Phonics is a supplemental program that is also available for students in grades 3 through 6 that need instruction in phonics, phonemic awareness, and high-frequency words. At each grade level, K-6, there are a variety of leveled reading books that are authentic literature. Every single book in grades K through 6 is accompanied by lesson plans, discussion questions, and appropriate assignments. This will be a great teaching aid in your split classroom. Interactive read-alouds are part of Reach for Reading in grades 1 through 6. These are smart activities to use with your whole class while you focus on the reading strategy for the upcoming selection. Whole group mini lessons are optional lessons. In my split classroom, I use the mini lessons for my proficient readers. Sometimes I assign the lesson, and other times I give the assignment for extra credit or an at-home project. The assessments in Reach for Reading are designed for all levels of students. Keep in mind that your assessment should give you the information that you need to direct instruction. Ongoing assessment is pertinent in a multi-age classroom. As you observe and assess, you may need to change your small groups as a student moves forward or shows struggle with specific skill areas. Try to keep a very open mind as you teach 2 grade levels but multiple abilities. Your lower grade students may not always perform under your higher grade students, and vice versa. Be ready to move groups around as the school year progresses. It's really a very exciting way to teach. Create a classroom setting where there is a place for whole group lessons, small group guided reading, a writing workshop, individual conferencing, independent paired reading, and learning centers. You may also want a large group rug area for warm-up at the beginning of the day and wrap up at the end of the day. In this perfect world diagram, you will see a place for whole groups on the rug. This warm-up will foster a sense of community in your classroom. Here shows a place where students work individually at desks for silent reading, individual practice, or following along during a whole group lesson. The desks are in groups for discussion and also small group work. Group tables are in the corners of the room. This is where I work with a small group of students during the reading block or meet with individual students for reading or writing conferencing. A computer station is also in place for work on MyNG Connect individually or to project a screen or an interactive lesson for a small group. Now, as educators, it's unusual to have a classroom that can accommodate for all the areas that we just mentioned. I'm sure we all have stories to tell regarding the unique places we have taught students. Design your classroom in a way that works for you, and keep in mind, this diagram is just an example to help you think about realistic options that work for your students. Multi-level teachers may find it helpful to focus on learning outcomes from one grade as a starting point to guide formative assessment and plans for differentiation. Formative assessment will provide teachers with information as to where each learner is in relation to the grade level standards, below, at, or above the determined starting point. The strategies for the most part are the same across the grades. However, the expectations, the amount of scaffolding, the materials, and the resources may differ for a group of students in your classroom. The Reach for Reading Assessment Overview page is a great place to begin. Continuous formative assessment is vital to determine flexible groupings. Teachers need to know which students have grasped specific concepts in order to decide on the combination and learning expectation that would best advance their learning. Your classroom will consist of many types of groups. Whole group instruction, where all grade levels are together focusing on a reading strategy or learning a specific skill. Cooperative groups, where teams of students are working together on a cooperative task. Partner pairs, where students are working at the same level or one proficient student is reading with a lower proficiency level student. This is helpful when practicing reading aloud as an oral fluency model or to simply share knowledge. As I mentioned before, you may create different groups for different purposes and change these each unit or each grading period. We are looking at the Skills at a Glance page for a 3rd-4th grade split with a group of 4th graders that tested below grade level on the benchmark test. We have chosen the 3rd grade text as the core for instruction. Differentiation will be important as we meet the needs of all the students in this classroom. Let's look at Grade 3, Unit 1, Week 1 as a sample for instruction. This planner serves as a great resource for skills that will be covered during the unit. As I compare the skills from 3rd and 4th grade, I notice similarities. In Unit 1, the reading strategy is planning and monitoring in both grade levels. The grammar focus in 3rd grade is nouns, and in 4th grade, simple subjects. Notice that the 4th grade skill is built upon the 3rd grade skill. Power writing is found every day and is tailored to the theme. The assessments in both levels test fluency, planning and monitoring, plot, determining meaning, and other various comprehension skills. In my own classroom, I compare the skills from each grade level using this planning page to see if there are skills that I can introduce to my more proficient readers as we move along. The weekly planner is a more detailed view of skills and strategies covered throughout the week. It is broken down into whole group lessons, small group reading lessons, and learning station time. This is when you are working with your small groups. The online lesson planner is also a tool for planning instruction. With just a few clicks, you can customize instruction for your multi-level classroom. Your own activities can be added, including lessons for each small group. Lessons can be moved from time slot to time slot and day to day, printed or emailed, and also include active links to e-visuals, projectables, e-editions, web pages, and more. In each lesson, you will find built-in differentiation. Right on the Teacher's Edition page, there are specific differentiated strategies for your students. I use the strategies for below level, on level, and above level learners to direct and inform instruction for various groups of students. Power writing, one of the daily writing opportunities, is also included every day right in the Teacher's Edition. As we close our session today, I want to review differentiation in the eyes of Carol Ann Tomlinson. We differentiate not to make instruction complicated, but rather to respond to our students' needs. This doesn't change in a multi-level classroom. We set up our classroom as an environment that supports learning with flexible grouping and a quality curriculum. We use instruction that responds to student variance and assessment that is ongoing and useful. We can differentiate the content, the information students grapple with to reach goals, the process, how students take in and make sense of the content, or the product, how students show us what they know, understand, and can do. We choose how to differentiate according to the student's readiness, interests, and learning profile. You are the teacher. You will need to make choices based on the needs of the students in your own classroom. Choose to differentiate either the content, process, or product as you direct instruction in your multi-level classroom. Let's review. As we take on the challenge of a multi-level class, we will frequently observe and monitor to plan instruction. Differentiation will be our goal as we meet needs for a variety of students. We will choose one core text, but design small, flexible groups for guided reading. We will be open to various small group settings and keep records as we move through the units. As we see students' needs being met in the classroom, we will celebrate our success together. For more information, visit our website at www.ngl.cengage.com and also our Reach for Reading award-winning website at www.mygconnect.com. All educators can sign up here for a free 90-day trial. Thank you for participating in our webinar today. It was a pleasure sharing Reach for Reading and the multi-level classroom with you.